Hey everyone, I thought it would be important since we've been using our church team's check-in system for almost a year. It'll be a year in April, and I thought it would be great to make a video kind of as a refresher course for those of you who have been using it successfully, and also for those of you that are new to the grading team or to the kids ministry team. This will be kind of a step-by-step process for you to learn how to use the check-in system. That way you'll be able to help somebody. If you just happen to be out and about before service, you could help somebody, but you could also train somebody new who might be trying to use it as well. My goal is that after watching this video, you'll feel confident and not afraid of the technology. It can look kind of scary, but it truly is not, and it's really user-friendly. So without further ado, let's jump right on in. One thing I do want to do before we talk about the nitty-gritty of things is just to kind of review the purpose of our check-in system. I know that it has been said we're a small church, Melissa, we don't need the check-in system, but actually we do. And there are many reasons why we use our check-in system, but the most important is that it helps us keep our kids safe. It helps us know who's at church, who brought them, who should be picking them up, who they're allowed to go with. And it also helps us to prevent them from going with those that they don't know. Unfortunately, divorce is very prevalent in our society, as are acts of domestic violence. And if somebody comes to the window and says, hey, I'm here to check out my kid, but we know that's not who they came with, they don't have a check-in tag, that gives us something to say, no, I don't believe so. And then we find out after the fact that no, the child should not have gone with that person. And yay, we followed procedure of our check-in policy, and we were able to help keep that kid safe from whatever harm may have come to them. The second thing that it allows us to do is to follow up with new guests. We want every guest, regardless of how old or how young, to feel welcome at our church. And there's a procedure for every age guest that comes to be followed up with a thank you, with a gift, and with an invitation to come back to our church so that they can grow in their walk with the Lord. That might mean salvation for the first time, or it might mean just continuing to grow in their walk with the Lord that they've had for a while. So hopefully you can agree with me that the check-in system is very important because we want to keep our kids safe, and we want guests to feel welcome, and we want them to know that, hey, we're going to take care of your kids. We're not going to let them just go with any stranger. And we want to follow up with them appropriately so they know that, hey, we care about you. So if you're working in any kids area and you see that a child has not been properly signed in, you'll know, hey, we need to get that done because this is important to get done. And you'll know the proper steps and how to make sure that it gets done. So without further ado, here we go on the steps of what to do when you're checking in a child. The first thing that you need to know, if you're checking in a child who you know comes on a regular basis or fairly regular basis, you can search for them by first or last name. You can start by asking the child or family, have you attended before? And if they say yes, then they're probably in the system. They may not be registered for a particular class, but they'll be in the system. So you can use the first or the last name to search. You're going to type it right into the search area, and then you're going to hit enter. As you start to type, names should start to appear, and you'll be able to just pick which one it is that you are wanting to select. Once you've selected the name, for example, if I type in the name Arnold, which you'll see in just a moment, Nick Arnold, Melissa Arnold, and Emily Arnold will all pop up. It really doesn't matter who you pick because you're going to select the Arnold family. And then from there, you'll be given the option to check in the appropriate people. The only one on the Arnold page who needs to be checked in, although you can see that Melissa Arnold has different areas that she is involved in, Emily Arnold is the only one who needs to be checked in because she is the only child. To do so, there is a box next to FWC Kids School Age, which would be our Sunday kids group for the school age children. There's also an age group, as you can see above with Melissa Arnold. You can see FWC Kids 0 to 2. If it's a child that's in the age range of 0 to 2, that would be the group that you would register them to. And we'll talk about that more in just a few minutes. So to properly check in Emily, I'm going to check the box next to her name in order to check her in. If there's not a green check mark in that box, the child is not checked in and it's not ready to go. The next step that I'm going to do is to hit print, and that's going to print my labels. There is an option to save without labels. That is not something that we need to do. We need to hit print so that we get a label for the child and a label for the parent. Let's say that it's a Sunday morning and a child who's in the school age group brings a friend with them, but the friend does not have an adult like a parent or somebody like that with them. They also don't know their address or phone number or any information like that with mom. Some kids do, but some kids don't. The older they are, the more likely they'll know. If they know their address and they know all of that information, we can set them up and fill them in accordingly, and I'll show you how to do that momentarily. But let's say hypothetically it's a second grade girl who comes and she does not know any of that information. That's okay. We can sign her in with the family that brought her, especially because they'll be the ones picking her up. So that's the easiest thing to do. What we do is we're going to go to the Add Family button. In our little situation here, let's say Emily brings a friend. I type in Emily. I'm going to sign her in. I'm going to click next to Emily's name, make sure that she has a check mark, but then I'm going to go to Add Family Members so that I can add that friend. When I click Add Family Members, it takes me to this page, and I'm going to fill in the appropriate information. Emily's friend's name is not going to have the same last name as us because they're from a different family, and I can go ahead and change that. You can see that I went to where it said child, and I put the name of Joe, and then instead of leaving the last name as Arnold, I changed it to Smith because that's our make-believe friend's last name is Smith. The next thing that you need to do, if there's any allergy information, anything like that, you need to add that. Most kids will know if they're allergic to something that might be important for us to know. If they're allergic to, say, amoxicillin or dust, that's not so much important for us to know, but if they have asthma and they have an inhaler, chances are if they've come to church without a parent, they have that inhaler and they know that and they can tell us that. We want to add them to the group. Joe here happens to be in second grade, so we're going to add him to FWC Kids School Age. Let's say that Joe was in preschool, then we're going to add him to FWC Kids 3 to 5, which is the ages. Then we're going to hit Save. Once I hit Save, it's going to take me back and allow me to print just like I would if I were printing the family's labels. The next thing that we want to look at how to do is how to add a new family, and you can add a new family very easily. When we're on the home page, instead of searching for a first or last name, we're going to click the Add New Family button. So let's say a family comes, they don't look too familiar to you, so you're not sure that they have been before. It's possible, but you're not 100% sure, so you greet them, say good morning, I'm glad you're here. Have you checked in with us? And they'll say no, not yet. You'll show them where the check-in station is, and then you will say, have you checked in with us before? Have you done this before? If they have, great. You can say, hey, just search by your first or last name of your child, and they'll should be able to know what to do from there. If they say, no, we've never checked in before, this is our first time, you can say, great, we're super glad you're here. Let me show you what to do, and we click the Add Family button. This page should look familiar to you because it was also the same page that we looked at when we added a family member to an existing family that we already have. This time, what's going to happen is they're going to go through and add the information that they need. Last name, it says home phone. Really, any phone number would do. A lot of people don't have a home phone anymore, so a cell phone is just fine. It's going to require address, city and state. Once they start typing their address, a lot of times it will prompt with an address with the city and state to fill in automatically. Things that it is going to require, you can see as designated with the star. It's going to require a phone number. It's going to require an email. The mobile number can be the same as the one listed for the home number, so copy and paste is totally fine. I like to send out a birthday greeting and a note to all the children, so a parent doesn't have to put their birth date, but if you can encourage them to put their child's birth date, that would be super. The other important thing that we need to know is if there are any allergies such as peanuts or something that they might encounter while at church and away from the parent that we would need to know about. To fully check in a child and make sure that they're added, we want to go and add them to the group. Again, it's going to say if you see a number, FWC kids 0 to 2, that would be an age. If you see school age, that's going to be your kindergarten through 6th grade. Middle school and high school students don't need to sign in with this. If we want to put their information in, that's great, but there's no group for them to be added to. Same thing with the parents. They could be added to a first-time guest group, and that's an option, but that's not necessarily something that you need to worry about. There is an option for mobile carriers. We don't need to know that. If they want to share it and put it in, that's great, but they really don't have to. It's not something that we need to know. If there are any other notes on the child, such as they need frequent restroom breaks, or they are extremely shy, or things like that that might be important for people to know, it will be printed on the tag so that everyone can see. Or this particular child has a bad reaction if you touch them. That type of thing could be important to be added so that we all know. Once you hit save, it'll take you to the page to print. You know that you have to check the names to make sure that they're properly signed in if they're not already checked in with that check mark. Once you see that check mark, you know that they're checked in and you're ready to print, and then you're going to print. This is an example of a child's name tag. The name tag should go on the child. School-age children can put it wherever they want to. Preschool children can put it wherever they want to, although we encourage the back, and we put it on the back for all nursery children. It has a child code. You can see on this particular person, this is a made-up tag, but you can see there is a number where it says child code. The parent tag is going to have the matching code. So when the parent comes, you're going to see that matching code, and we want to match up the two stickers next to each other and have the parent initial that they are taking their child. On this particular child, you can see that she has an allergy to peanuts. It is in bold so that it stands out on the card and that we don't miss it. So if a parent comes to the window and says, I'm here to pick up my kid, but we don't know that person, and we have no parent tag to go with them, that child should not go because we don't know that that person is a safe person. If you say, I really need the parent tag before they can go so that I can have you properly sign out, most parents are not going to get annoyed with you because they want their kids to be safe. The other thing is that parents are being, there are procedures when we go to the doctor. There's a procedure, for example, if you go to Children's Mercy to visit a child, you have to have proper documentation and a proper reason as to why you're there, or they will not let you in that hospital. When you go to the school to eat lunch or sign your child out, you have to have proper identification. So this is a continuance of you have to have proper identification to pick up the child. There are instances where a child of a single parent might be picked up by someone else. Or there are instances where we already have the matching code and we know that they can be signed out by certain people. They just need to be initialed, and that's totally fine. But we are aware of those, and they are marked in the proper areas as to who goes where. If there is ever a question on whether someone is acceptable to pick up a child, always check the book. If they are not on the book and they don't have a parent tag, they don't go. The only exception to this rule is the Nutelski family at this time. They may take their parent tag and already put it on the checkout sheet, and then they have an approved list of people that can pick up the children. That approved list is written down in the notebooks. The notebooks can be found in the nursery area. They can also be found in the clubhouse and in the preschool room. If there is ever a question on whether someone is approved to pick them up, please check the notebook. If they are not on the list, they are not taking the children. If you have any further questions about the check-in, check-out procedure on how this all works, please let me know. Also, just shoot me a text or a message of some kind and let me know that you have watched this video and you are now a Check-In Pro Master and are able to help other people. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.